but I am in the deep freezer. That's where we are today in Alberta, is the deep freeze. It is minus 36 with the wind chill. Where I am currently. Just talking about that, I immediately want to go put mittens on. So this morning when I got up in this minus 36 degree environment that we have, I was blessed, right? Yes. I was blessed because I had a roof over my head. I was blessed because I had heat. I was blessed because I had a bed. I was blessed because I had food in my cupboards. And it made me really focus on my nonprofit this morning. And so the nonprofit that I have is called Hugs for Homeless. And what we do is we put together backpacks. Hang on. We put together backpacks filled with necessities and things that someone on the streets could use. So there's a water bottle, there's a hat, there's socks, there's gloves, there's a blanket, there are hygiene essentials, feminine hygiene products, right? So pads and stuff like that. And we put these kits together. They cost anywhere from $100 to $120, and then we get them out into the community. And we are looking for volunteers that can help us. So you can check out the website, or you can message me about those opportunities, because not all of them are physical on the ground volunteer opportunities. Some of them could be in the area of social media, right? Because there's always different roles. Maybe you're really good at researching grants and want to volunteer to do that. But when you're seeing the temperatures of minus 36 and you're thinking about how many people are homeless right now, I just hope that if you have it in your heart to give, that you can give, so we can get more of these backpacks or hugs out into the community. I have 10 to distribute now, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to be speaking with the lady tomorrow in the hopes of arranging the time in which to get them out. So yeah, this is very, very exciting. And, you know, I could use any help or any donations that anyone is willing to give. And that's my nonprofit. And that's what I wanted to talk about, was this bitterly cold weather that we're having in Alberta, and the nonprofit that I have. And now we're going to get into the content of my live for my other company, which is on Sha'Ryah. And what I do at Sha'Ryah is I teach the truth. And that might sound pretty like a silly kind of statement to make. You teach the truth. But I mean the truth of the truth, beyond religion, beyond dogma, beyond all of that. I am a truth seeker. I am an Ophiuchus Sun, and I have a lot of Ophiuchus in my chart. And Ophiuchus is about resurrection and, you know, about turning pain into prophecy and stuff like that. So it's a very lovely sign. And we're going to talk about that. I like to talk about true sidereal because, like I said, I'm all about sussing out the truth. And I think that if I'm going to work with the stars or the planets in the skies, if I'm going to work with astrology, I'm going to work with the planets as they actually are in the living sky. I'm not going to work with planets that were frozen 2,000 years ago. I'm going to look at the sky and I'm going to work with it and exactly how it is. So I went from studying astrology, studying moonology, then human design, then gene keys, and then true sidereal. And they're not all the same. Like, yes, the traditional, tropical, seasonal, mainstream astrology, sidereal, true sidereal, and there's other names for things like Vedic and so on. They're all forms of astrology. Whereas human design does have components of those things in it. It is not astrology, nor is gene keys. They're based on different theories or on different systems. When it comes to astrology, to me, it makes no sense not to consult the actual living sky if we're going to work with it. Why am I working with something that, stopped years and years and years back, 2,000 of them, in fact. And the other thing about when we're looking at true sidereal, the other thing that it does is it also incorporates the 13th sign of Ophiuchus, which mainstream astrology has kicked out of there. Today is a third quarter. Now, I put up content about a third quarter in Virgo, which would be really great content for mainstream astrology. I thought the new moon occurred later today than what it did. And so when I looked and I was thinking later, I was thinking that it was transiting into Virgo. So we would have a third quarter in Virgo, but I was wrong because the third quarter happened around 3:52 p.m. Eastern or 1:52 p.m. Mountain Time. And that meant that the moon was still in the sign of Leo. So we had a Leo third quarter. So we'll look into that. But we'll go through the celestial outlook and we'll talk about a bunch of other things because you know me, I don't just give you the sky. I'm going to tell you how to use it too. And we're going to talk about the third quarter. So our planetary alignments, our sun is still in Ophiuchus, stays in Ophiuchus until almost midnight on December 17th, when it then transitions into Sagittarius. We have the moon in Leo until later today when it goes into Virgo. We have Mercury in Libra. We have Venus in Ophiuchus. Yesterday, Mars left Ophiuchus and went into Sagittarius. We have Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, and Pluto in Capricorn. Okay, I just had to check. I was like, when does Venus move into Sagittarius? It's not until the 21st. In 2 days, we actually have Mercury leaving the sign of Libra and moving into the sign of Scorpio. So we'll see how that translates to how we utilize the skies, right? All right, so we've entered this sacred space under the light of the moon that's in Leo. And as it wanes into its final hours or final phase of this lunar cycle, this is what we're experiencing. So the third quarter moon is a call to release, recalibrate, and remember the flame that lives within us. Remember, we're the Leo energy. The Leo governs the heart. It's the radiant flame. It's that alignment, that authenticity, right? That passionate energy. Let me see for a second here. So this message is to serve your soul's alignment and remind you of the sovereignty that's encoded in your very being. So pretty cool. Hi, Craig. How are you, love? And hi, divinely spirited. I wanted to say sprite. I almost pushed the R in the I. It's divinely sprite. And then I went, nope, that's why I said it the way that I did. All right. So the third quarter moon, we're going to talk about that. The third quarter moon is the time of integration, reflection, and then sacred release. But we have it in Leo right now, which is a fire sign, and it's that radiant will, that heart energy, right? So in this case, the fire isn't dimming. It just refines. So where other signs may call for withdrawal so that you can be reflective and integrative and do the release, Leo asks you to stand in your truth, to own your light, and to surrender what dims it. So get rid of what dims your light. That's what Leo's asking you to do. It's authenticity, right? So this is a powerful time to reflect on how your heart has been leading, identify where your ego has tried to protect you through control, rather than through presence, right? That's all we have to do is be present, just present in integrity, present with intention, right? Presence is more than just being here, it's being in the awareness while you're here. So let go of your outdated identities, because Leo isn't about fake. Leo is authentic, right? So get rid of all of those outdated identities, especially anything that's based on external validation. I was talking with my son earlier, and I was talking about how we've been hijacked into believing that the salvation is outside of us, that someone's going to save us, that there's the second coming of Yeshua, or there's, the government, or there's, this church or this religion, or, this surgery or this diet, or there's this something outside of you that'll fix everything. It'll fix you, it'll fix your life, or it'll come and save you. It'll make you more accepted. It'll do all these things. And it's always stuff external to you. But that's not the path to salvation. It's within, right? Everything that you seek is within. So Leo stands on that. Leo is, I'm not looking outside. I'm the radiant heart. I'm going to shine. So reclaim the light of your inner flame without needing approval. Leo governs courage, authenticity, leadership, and childlike joy. So as this moon wanes, it's not about hiding your light, okay? It's about letting go of anything false so that the true radiance can emerge. You are not here to be the version of yourself that others can handle, okay? You are here to be the flame that remembers why it burns, okay? Say hello, though, by the way. Say hello, like the live, share the live. I don't know. It's all those things that social media or that the algorithm makes you do, right? Liking and sharing and commenting and interacting, right? You can help me out by doing those things. I'd appreciate that. So humble. All right. So we're going to look at our Krystic Daily Triad. Remember, the Krystic Daily Triad is the true sky weather. So that weather is changing throughout the day. Very seldom do we wake up in the morning and we stay like a flat line, never experiencing changes or anything like that throughout the entire day. And that's because the sign that's on the rising changes as we go through the day. It's, moving every 1 to 2 hours or 1 to 2.5 hours, right? So as that sign's rolling through, that's changing the weather of the sky, which is also going to affect you. It's going to be reflected. So what we're looking at is the sun, the moon, and the rising. And these are the three core parts that we look at in astrology for the individual. And so we're looking at these, but applying them to the sky. So the sun is in Ophiuchus, which means that you are initiated into deeper truth. Remember, Ophiuchus is the sign of resurrection. It's not death. It's what comes after death. It's that. So we're asking ourselves to get true, get real. And this serpent bearer, which is what Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer. It calls forth that inner mastery, the purification, and the restoration of divine remembrance. I was talking with my friend today, and I was saying how it's beautiful how the constellations line themselves up. When you understand them and you work with them and you look at them, you have Virgo that comes in that calls for refinement, and you have Scorpio that comes in and goes into the depths and says, I think we can go a bit deeper. Like, you're doing really good with, most of it, Virgo, but we need to go deeper. So then Scorpio deep dives pulls everything out of the shadows, reveals the truth, really is the death. And then Ophiuchus comes through with the resurrection. And it says, okay, thank you, Scorpio. You revealed the truth to me. You've refined this. You've brought the truth to me. And now we're going to build from that truth. And Sagittarius says, thank you for handing me the truth, because now I'm going to aim it exactly where we need to go. And I'm going to fire it with accuracy. And then Capricorn says, okay, but we want to achieve. We want to build, like, we got to take care of things. We've got to, like, we've got to be protective. Like Capricorn's that very achievement oriented dad energy, right? So Capricorn is taking what Sagittarius, what we've aimed true, and Capricorn's like, let's make a legacy of this. Let's see what we can't do with this, right? So it's really cool how it works through, and you can continue on, and then you get to the rebirth, and then Aries starts it off again running. So the sun in Ophiuchus, the resurrection energy. We have our moon in Leo. The moon in Leo is about emotional truth, and it's loud. Leo's not a quiet sign. It's loud, it's proud, and calling for courageous expression. So you may feel the need to break free from suppression and return to what feels alive. Okay. Yeah. And Leo heart is gonna help you there. So the rising sign, which we know when we look at an individual's astrology, if we're looking at the rising sign, it's calculated from the time of your birth. In order for you to guess what your rising sign is in the absence of knowing your time of birth, you could read what the rising signs are. I'll go through them again today because we talked about it yesterday. So I'll go through the rising signs again today. Listen to what they sound like, and what does it sound like you, like how's the way that you get up? And I was talking to my friend about this again. I have lots of conversations with people. But I'm Aries rising, and I get up in the morning. I have a routine where I meditate, and that's a routine that I have to consistently, reestablish. Like, I'll establish it, I'll get going good for a while, and then something will happen that disrupts the routine, and then maybe I stop doing it, right? So I have to work on keeping it. And the reason why is because I wake up fully loaded. Like, I wake up like I drank caffeine when I was sleeping. Like, I don't understand it, but I don't have an alarm clock. I wake up at 5 a.m. typically. Some days I sleep later, but that's okay. I wake up, I go and I make my tea, but I'm already on. I'm like puttering around, doing stuff. I get my tea, then I go in and I sit down and I meditate for a half an hour or so. Soon as I'm done that, sorry, there's birds outside, it's distracting me. Soon as I'm done that, I take my tea and I walk in here and I sit down and I start creating. And so before most people are even out of bed in the morning, like by the time 7 o'clock is here, I've probably put together 3 or 4 pieces of content. And then I walk my dog, and then I go all day long. That's me. I'm Aries rising. So it's that initiatory energy. Let's get it started. I don't know. I probably have a little struggle with finishing it. All right. But when we're looking at the rising sign for the day, what you're looking at is where the sign, like what was rising on the horizon, in the morning when the sun rose, right? What was the sign that was on the horizon? So there's calculations that you can do to figure that out. But this becomes the daily lens, and then you could track it through the day as it transited through all 13 signs and see how that changes throughout your day. So this one here is a little bit more, you're checking in on it when as you're going, right? It's not something that you look at once and forget about it. You would look at it and go, okay, so we've transited. Now we're in Virgo. Virgo's the rising sign. Okay, that makes sense when applying it with the moon in Leo and the sun in Ophiuchus, that this is the color that we have right now. So this triad is your living mirror each day. You can use it to feel your truth, direct your fire, and to walk with awareness. You'll get really good at understanding how that transits through your day, that how it's affecting you. So you'll know, hey, I feel really energized, about 2 p.m. And that's, interestingly enough, when the rising hits Leo, right? And all of a sudden I've got a boost of energy because it's in the sign of Leo. And now I'm this childlike joy, and I'm all about doing what's aligned with me, and I'm passionate, and I'm on fire, right? But then maybe, you find yourself slow down and become a bit internal and a bit thoughtful, and, maybe even feeling a bit more emotional to a degree, right? And, like this it's in Cancer, or, later on, you're very open, you're very, like feel like you could channel messages and speak to the dead and all of that. And you realize, well, the moon, it's in Pisces. Now it's in Pisces. Makes sense why I'm more open. Right? So you get to learn how you are, because it's going to affect you differently because of your makeup. We've got the psychological triad. Now this one's easier. You can check it each day unless there was a transit during the day of one of these signs. It would be the same for that day. So when you're looking at the psychological triad, this is your internal landscape. The moon, how you feel. Mercury, how you process. Venus, how you relate. So those are the three energies. The moon looking after your emotional landscape, Mercury being communication and thoughts, like it's your communication and thoughts, like it's your mental landscape. There we go. It's the mental landscape. And Venus is the attraction, it's the desire, it's your relationships. So the how do you relate? So today, with the moon being in Leo, your how you feel is going to be expressive, maybe dramatic, heartfelt, like you're just going to be so empowered and impassioned, right? With Mercury in Libra, you're processing things based on like wanting to seek out peace or clarity or balance or harmony, right? That's what Mercury in Libra is doing for us. When Mercury transits on the 13th into Scorpio, then our processing is going to get real. We're going to get deep. We're going to delve into the shadows. We're going to start pulling things out of the closet. And we're going to be looking for the truth of the truth, and to really like dark night of the soul energy that comes from Scorpio, right? That's how we're going to be processing in our mind, is to suss out the truth and to burn what isn't aligned, get rid of it. So Mercury right now, we're seeking peace, clarity, and balance. Next week, or whatever, in a couple of days, we're going to be seeking truth. Venus in Ophiuchus, which is wrong, because Venus is in Sagittarius. Yes, Venus is in Sagittarius. Hang on a second. It's okay. It was yesterday. I don't know why I mistyped and wrote down Ophiuchus. Makes no sense. No sense. Anyway, hi Swan's arm. Sorry, just totally off on my own little. So anyway, I don't care why I wrote it down there. With Venus in Sagittarius. No, it isn't Ophiuchus. Oh my goodness. Mars switched into Sagittarius. Mars switched into Sagittarius. Oh my goodness, guys. Wow. So Venus, I'm like, it's about the truth right now. The heart is aligned with the truth right now. Like, I was all confused. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's aiming at the right. I was switching the wrong one. I apologize. All right. So with Venus in Ophiuchus, it refines relationships through truth and spiritual growth, right? This is all about letting what doesn't align go, aligning with the truth, and then growing from that space. Okay. So your reflection prompt to help you with the triad that we have today for our inner landscape is, where am I speaking from the heart? And where am I speaking to avoid discomfort? So where are you sparing yourself or someone else discomfort by either not saying it or by saying it in a different way, right? Hi, trees. Hi, Mimi. So we've got our cognitive triad that we can look at as well. And this is the mental identity. So it's the sun, the moon, and Mercury. And this triad helps you understand how you see yourself and your mind's patterns. It's useful for coaching, which we're doing for ourselves, right? Reflection, and also shifting thought habits. So today's blend is that you identify as a truth seeker because the sun's in Ophiuchus. You're feeling emotionally bold because of the moon being in Leo. And you're thinking rationally and diplomatically because Mercury is in Libra. So in order to really harness these energies, you want to, in your embodiment, make sure that you're practicing holding both fierce truth and compassionate expression, right? Because sometimes we get really in our truth and then we get a little too harsh. And the truth doesn't need to be yelled at you. The truth doesn't need to be beat over your head. The truth doesn't require violence. It doesn't require submission. The truth just is the truth. And when people, if I speak the truth to you in an even tone, right? If I speak the truth to you in an even tone, your body feels that. I don't have to raise my voice. I don't have to stomp my feet. The truth is felt, resonance, right? So we also have Mars in Sagittarius. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday because it was around 1 p.m. that it switched, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more today. So yesterday, Mars shifted into Sagittarius, and this changes the tone of our action field. So Mars is how we take action. So now, after being in that serpent deep purging of Ophiuchus, now we're into the skyward fire of Sagittarius. Mars is now seeking expansion through action, truth through experience, and courage through movement. So this is a great time to take bold steps on your path of purpose, saying yes to vision quests, travel, and sacred duty, and clearing out anything that stifles your soul's momentum. You have to be mindful of, with Mars being in Sagittarius, you have to be mindful of that restlessness is not rooted in an avoidance. And that speaking truths, that you're not doing it without tact, right? Like you can still be compassionate speaking the truth. And that you're leaping before you're actually grounding. Right? You want to make sure that you ground before you take that step, right? So Mars in Sagittarius is not just fire, it is aimed fire. Remember, where the bow's launched back, its point is true, right? So make sure you know where your arrow's going before you shoot. I know, I can sometimes be like a hammer. Sometimes I miss the subtle cue that they don't want the hammer. You know, that maybe they want to, I don't know, a little softer. Maybe not at all. Oh, we need to look at your true chart. I want to look at your true makeup. And I want to read your chart the way it's meant to be read. Like true sidereal, and then the Krystic astrology applied to it, and see what comes up for you. Yes, ma'am. Because I think you'd be surprised where you get your fire from. Use Mastering the Zodiac. Mastering the Zodiac for anybody that wants to do their true sidereal calculator. Do that. You would be. Everything moves over one, right? It moves over one. What was your rising? Because I'm going to talk about, I might do suns again. We could do a recap of both of them, of the sun and the rising. But then I won't do the moon until tomorrow. We'll talk about the moon tomorrow. All right, so our right of solar sovereignty. So we're going to use this right today to anchor your will, your presence, and radiant leadership. So we're going to speak this aloud. I remember the flame within me. I no longer ask for permission to shine. I am the one who walks with clarity, leads with love, and chooses alignment. Chooses with alignment. Today, I anchor the sun within me, the fire of truth, the light of remembrance, the courage to be seen. I am sovereign. I am light made flesh. And so it is. It's a pretty good sovereignty, right? So today is not about hiding or playing small. The Leo moon reminds you that sacred radiance is a responsibility. Shine not from ego, but from embodied remembrance. The flame lives in you. The sky mirrors you. And this moment is a gateway to become what you came here to be. Okay? You just have to let the Krystic light the way. That's what Yeshua came to teach us. The way. The way. Do you know the way? I know the way. Oh, a friend of mine would be laughing at that. Do you know the way? I know the way. You might know it from a cartoon or something. So today we're in the third quarter, which is the fire that refines you. We stand in a very different energy than originally expected because I thought we were entering the third quarter in Virgo, and I was wrong because I calculated the time wrong. So anyway, we are in a third quarter moon in Leo, late stage Leo, but nonetheless Leo. And instead of refinement and correction, Leo brings clarity through fire, through identity, and through revelation of the self. Neat. Yeah, you have to send me your whole chart. Like if you did it on Mastering the Zodiac, send me that, like even a screenshot of it. Send it to me and I'll look at it. Okay, good. All right. So let the recalibration settle that we're not in refinement, we're in heart-led, right? We're still in that energy of Leo. So acknowledging the switch from Virgo to Leo. Sometimes the sky shifts in ways that reveal a deeper truth. And for me, it was just, like I said, I thought that the third quarter occurred later in the day, like in overnight kind of thing. Like around 11 or something. But I was wrong. It happened around 1 p.m. my time. So 2 o'clock my time. And at that point in time, the moon was still in Leo. So we actually have a third quarter in Leo, which only slightly sucks because I put out all my content today talking about it being in Virgo. But that'll work with all the mainstreamers because they are thinking that it is a third quarter in Virgo. But for us, we're going to correct it here. It's actually in Leo. So Leo is not subtle. Leo does not refine the details. Leo refines the self. Leo says, I know who I am. I know what I need. Who has Leo energy in their charts? I'm Leo moon. So emotionally, I know what I need. I know who I am emotionally. I know what these feelings are. Are you Leo rising? Yes. Okay. Moon rising. Right. I know what I must change. I know which identity I'm done with. Leo has great energy. This is the purification of identity, not the purification of environment, which is what Virgo focuses on. Virgo's looking at your food, your daily habits, your rituals, your routines, your healthy, like your health, your whatever. Like Virgo's focused on those types of refinements. Whereas Leo is, I am me, I'm a lion, hear me roar, and I'm not going to pretend I'm something else, right? That I'm something else. Nice. It's refinement, right? Virgo is refinement. It's beautiful, beautiful energy. It really is. I think all of the energies of the signs is very beautiful. We've just had them distorted, right? And so with those distortions, we're used to having all of these negative things within the signs, and they're not actually there. That's not to say that it's all sunshines and rainbows. It's not. It's just that the way that it's captured is about growth and expansion and evolution, as opposed to, you're super critical. Instead, you're about refinement. So saying that you're about refinement, even though you will pay attention to the details and stuff like that, it's not from the aspect of, it's not that edge of critical, right? Critical is a totally different term than refine, right? That you're refining something. So a third quarter moon is a turning point in the moment of the lunar cycle, when you have to choose between the old version of yourself that was revealed during the full moon and the becoming version of yourself, which you're going to reveal on the new moon, right? Another newness. So it's a pivot, a release point, a redirecting force. And this is, when we look at the astrological wheel, right? If you have the cross points like this, right? A new moon would be the moon and the sun on the same side. A full moon would be the moon and sun on opposite sides. Third quarter and first quarter is when the moon is here and the sun is either here or here. So it will create either a third or first quarter. And that's how it works with the signs. So in Leo, the pivot happens in your heart, your expression, your confidence, your truth, and your identity. And Leo says to you today, stop shrinking. Stop hiding. Stop performing. Stop carrying identities that were never yours. Stop betraying your heart to make others comfortable. Because Leo's flame burns away the false versions of you. This is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. Okay. And surprisingly, Leo, you are not being asked to be loud. You're just being asked to be true. You're just being asked to be true. All right. So the Oversoul under a Leo quarter moon. So what is your higher self doing right now? This is one of the closest points in the month where the Oversoul's voice rises above the noise. In Leo, Oversoul messages come through the heart as, I cannot live like this anymore. I'm ready to rise. I'm done shrinking. I deserve more. I am stepping into who I really am. It's not about external expression. It's about that inner recognition. This is who I am, and hear me roar. Although, like I said, you don't have to be loud, Leo. It can be a little bit quieter. Okay, so what happens to our ego? I love doing these like plays through this. So what's happening with our ego? Our ego's like, wait, are we changing our identity again? Moon, yes. You have outgrown the old one. Ego, but I feel safe there. Oversoul, you were small there. Ego, I am uncomfortable. Ophiuchus Sun, good. You are waking up. It's what our constellations are doing right now. And our ego and our oversoul. All right. Leo loves humor. So Leo prepares the heart, Ophiuchus prepares the truth, and Sagittarius prepares the path. And we are 9 days away from the new moon in Sagittarius. This moon will ignite direction, vision, expansion, and movement. Leo today is the burning away. Ophiuchus is the revealing, and Sagittarius will be the becoming. This is the sequence of transformation. All right, we got our embodiment practice. I'm going to have a sip of tea beforehand. Hi, guys. Hi, warrior girl. Yeah, it doesn't. See, that's where mainstream astrology. So mainstream astrology froze the constellations 2,000 years ago. And yes, the truth from Leo comes from within. So they froze the constellations 2,000 years ago and said that on this date, it's this season, on this date, it's this season. So every month you change into a new season. And then what they determined to be the new moon is the moment that the moon enters the same sign that the sun is in, and then they say it's a new moon. But if you look at the actual sky live, if I look at the sky live, which I'm going to, but if I look at the sky live, and I can look at the moon and I can go to the moon phases and go to December 19th, which is when the next new moon is. And it says that the moon will be at a distance of blah, 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 blah. And it will be in the constellation of Sagittarius. And this is according to the sky live. And if I put the sky live and I roll forward day after day after day to get to the 19th, I'll see the sun in the sky live thing sitting in the constellation of Sagittarius. So I don't like doing things that are misaligned. I don't understand why. I don't understand why I would follow a system that is frozen in time. I don't understand why. And to me, it's more of a personality type system, whereas this, the way that I work with true sidereal and why I call it Krystic astrology is because I take the distortions out. I use this true sky as it is. So I use true sidereal. I account for the 13th sign. And I take away, like I said, all the distortions and stuff that's been built into the astrology. And I talk about it from the truth. And so we have a new moon in Sagittarius, December 19th. So if you have any children that have been born around this time, they weren't born Sagittarian, they were born Ophiuchian. So it's a good thing to know. Tea, and then we'll do our embodiment practice. It's a small one, but it's good. The real Jeffrey Springer. Nice. And hi, Alan. How are you? Okay, let's go to our my notes on the embodiment practice. I try to remember it all, guys, but I can't. I have to have notes. It's just the way that it is. Okay, so we're going to place our hands on our heart again, right? Leo is the heart. So place our hands on our heart. Take our breaths. We like to get 3 in, nice, slow, deep through the nose, into the belly, and then out through the mouth like you're blowing out. Pursed lips is what it's called. Okay, so you just want to get yourself into the state where your mind is quieter, right? Just focusing on that breath. In, you can even hold it for a second at the very top, and then out, nice and slow. You can delve into the space that comes up when you do that. Sink into that lovely little feeling. So what identity are you done carrying? This is your first question. What identity am I done carrying? What version of me is no longer true? What truth is rising in my chest today? What expression wants to come forward? What part of me is ready to be seen? So let those answers rise without force. This is the Leo heart flame, and this is how the Oversoul speaks. And if you're brave, you can put down in the comments what came up for you with those questions. When I asked what part of me is ready to be seen, I heard Oversoul. Yeah, like all of me was really what came down the pipe. So you'll have to let me know what came up for you guys in some of those questions. I'm going to have a sip of tea while I see if anyone's brave enough to answer. Maybe I'll hold on to that for a minute. It's really the perfect temperature. I'm going to go paint after this. I have lots and lots and lots of stuff to accomplish, but I'm going to go paint after this. I'm going to go and have a snack. And have a snack, and I'm going to paint after this, because that's the kid energy. The true. And it's good. We're not supposed to be doing it for everybody else, right? We're not. So for everybody up there and everybody down here, remember, I have two, the true me. That makes more sense. Hi, Crystal. That makes more sense. To answer is to know the question. Deep. Deep. All right, let's see what else we have. All right. So do not underestimate today. Okay. It is gentle fire. It is quiet courage. It is identity orientation, and it is soul level honesty. You are shedding an old expression. You are stepping into a more aligned one. And that's what we want. We want to know the truth. We feel so much better when we know the truth. You know, if you look at what's going on mainstream right now, you know, back in September, when Charlie Kirk, what all that happened with that, and Candace, you know, she went on this hunt because she wasn't satisfied with the answers that she received. So she was on this big search for the truth. And that's because we're not satisfied with that. Nobody's satisfied when the story doesn't make sense. And that's because we truly want the truth at the end of the day. And we know in our body or in our soul when it's not the truth. The only reason why it passes by many of us is that we're so riddled with trauma and or noise, avoidance, or we're so sedated through drugs, food, television, porn, all kinds of things, that we don't feel our bodies anymore. We've disconnected from it, so we don't feel when something's not true because we're not feeling. We're not engaging in that. So we need to get back into feeling our bodies and you know, clearing whatever it is that's preventing us from that. That's where your intuition is in your body. So if you're not connecting to your body, you're lacking intuition. So the moon burns the false self. The sun reveals the true self, and Sagittarius is activating the next self. So the next level. Okay. Hi, Rustic Wings. How are you, love? So today we had a combo. We talked about a couple of things, but mostly the third quarter moon and the fact that I was a little bit wrong because I calculated it incorrectly. But we did expect Virgo conversation today, and we ended up talking about Leo. That just changed everything for me. So it also changed how you harness the day. And I was kind of wondering, because I got up today and I was just like, even yesterday, and it's the Leo moon. The Leo moon is calling for authenticity, and that's what I've been feeling with the moon. So the sun in Ophiuchus exposes the illusions and restores original truth. The moon in Leo activates the heart flame and calls us back into authenticity. And then Mars in Sagittarius, we're shifting that fire into direction, purpose, and sacred movement. So that Mars energy is significant as well. We clarified that this was not refinement of the environment, but refinement of the self, because that's what Leo's concerned with, whereas Virgo would have been more concerned with the environment. So through humor and deep truth, I thought it was funny. We talked about how the ego resists identity change, how the Oversoul speaks through heart level knowing, and why Leo demands inner recognition, not external approval, and how this fire is preparing us for the Sagittarius new moon, which happens on the 19th of December. So we guided a Leo heart flame practice because the sun goes into Sagittarius December 17th at 23:56 Mountain Time. So whatever time your time is compared to that. And the moon enters in on the 19th. So that's how we get the new moon in Sagittarius. We guided a Leo heart flame practice that asked, what identity am I done carrying? What truth is rising in my chest today? How to do my puzzle. And what expression wants to come forward? Hi, Denise. How are you, love? We anchored the day with the right of solar sovereignty, reminding the field that I remember the flame within me. I lead from the truth inside me. I am sovereign. I am light made flesh. This was not a loud transmission. It was a clear one. Let today burn away the small version of you Let the truth rise through your chest. Let your next step emerge in clarity. The fire refines, the oversoul confirms, and the path is preparing. I'm getting ready for that new moon. New moon, new you. This is the one time when it's actually kind of like it's really true. Right? Yes. Mars transited into Sagittarius yesterday, so we're really making directional steps forward, right? We're moving forward in a refined line, right? You feel more like I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm headed. And we have a third quarter moon in Leo, which is definitely that authentic heart energy. And then the sun in Ophiuchus, which is screaming for the truth. Let's just burn everything down and resurrect again. I like that Ophiuchus is the 13th. Okay, so Ophiuchus is the 13th gate, and it governs resurrection. So we need to reestablish Ophiuchus. Like a cold kind of sick. Because one thing that came to me was that a cold is actually just, it's toxin, like a toxic environment. So if we're living in or being around people that are toxic, or maybe we're the toxic one, but that's when we end up picking up cold symptoms, energetically speaking, that there could be there's toxins in the environment somewhere. Which is really cool to look at it that way, right? I'll talk about, because I said I was going to go through the sun in all 13 signs as per Krystic astrology. So I'll still do that. And we'll talk about the rising sign. Yeah. So you need to reaffirm your boundaries, because you can be around it and not absorb it. But if you get sick being around it, it's because there's an opening somewhere. It feels like it's warm outside, but it's not. The sun peeked out and started heating me up a little bit. And I'm like, I'm starting to feel warm, but it's not. So yeah, just reaffirm your boundaries when you're around them, and just like, you'll just need to clear it out of your system. Yeah, which will be cool. Okay, so let's look at this. This is the 13 signs through the sun, and we'll talk about that. So the sun reveals how the oversoul radiates into embodied form. It is the core light, the guiding flame, the expression of identity, purpose, vitality, and the soul's chosen mode of shining in this lifetime. So we're going to look at the 12 gates and the 13th sign, because it is a gate, but it's interpreted differently, Ophiuchus. So the sun in each sign through true sidereal. And if you do not know your true sidereal, I suggest looking at masteringthezodiac.com. If you don't know your time, you just won't get your rising sign. You'll have to determine your rising sign another way. And you could do that by looking at or listening to the signs as I express them here and determining which one sounds more like you. But you know, it might be easier if someone close to you determines that too, but you can kind of look at them and, you know, they do express differently, and especially when you're looking at it through Krystic astrology. So sun in Aries, for all our sun in Aries folks, the radiance expresses as ignition, courage, direct motion, and divine will. The oversoul enters through pure fire and purpose. The sun in Taurus, radiance expresses as stability, embodiment, devotion to form, and sensual presence. The oversoul shines through patience and grounded mastery. Sun in Gemini, radiance expresses as curiosity, communication, idea exchange, and mental agility. The oversoul shines through connection and learning. The sun in Cancer, radiance expresses as emotional wisdom, nurturing, memory, and intuitive sensitivity. The oversoul shines through protection and care. Sun in Leo, Radiance expresses as confidence, creativity, leadership, and heart-centered expression. The Oversoul shines through sovereignty and joy. The Sun in Virgo. Radiance expresses as refinement, healing, organization, and sacred service. The Oversoul shines through detail and devotion. What's devotion again? Discipline is devotion to the highest frequency. Every time I say devotion, I think about that statement. And same thing when I think about discipline. Sun in Libra. Radiance expresses as harmony, justice, beauty, and relational wisdom. All life is connected. The Oversoul shines through balance and diplomacy. Sun in Scorpio. Radiance expresses as depth, transformation, power, and truth-seeking. The Oversoul shines through mystery and revelation. The Sun in Ophiuchus. Radiance expresses as regeneration, transmutation, and serpent fire awakening. The Oversoul shines through alchemical healing and remembrance. Sha'Ryah, Sun in Sagittarius. Radiance expresses as vision, exploration, freedom, and higher understanding. The Oversoul shines through truth and expansion. Sun in Capricorn. Radiance expresses as mastery, discipline, structure, responsibility, and legacy. The Oversoul shines through achievement and stewardship. The Sun in Aquarius. Radiance expresses as innovation, community, unity, and forward thinking. The Oversoul shines through collective awakening. The Sun in Pisces, the radiance expresses as compassion, intuition, mysticism, and surrender. The Oversoul shines through unity, imagination, and spiritual flow. So then we can look at the rising signs. And then tomorrow we'll talk about the moon. Okay. Hi, Suni. All right. So now when we look at the rising sign, which is the horizon gate, how the soul steps into the world. So the ascendant or rising sign reveals how the soul enters the world moment to moment. It is the gate of incarnation through which the Oversoul steps into physical expression. Where the sun is your radiance and the moon your embodiment, the rising sun is your interface, your approach, your initiatory tone, and the impression your field creates in the world. Okay, so how the soul steps into the world through each gate. Rising in Aries enters the world through action, confidence, and forward-moving energy, approaches life directly, boldly, and with instinctive clarity. Rising in Taurus enters the world steadily, calmly, and with grounded presence, approaches life through embodiment, patience, and reliability. Rising in Gemini enters the world with curiosity, conversation, and adaptability, approaches life through communication, ideas, movement, and connection. Rising in Cancer enters the world with intuitive sensitivity and emotional awareness, approaches life through care, attunement, and protective insights. Rising in Leo enters the world with warmth, charisma, creativity, and confidence, approaches life through expression, generosity, and heart-centered leadership. Rising in Virgo enters the world with discernment, precision, and quiet mastery, approaches life through observation, refinement, and sacred service. Rising in Libra enters the world with diplomacy, grace, and relational awareness, approaches life through harmony, elegance, and fairness. Rising in Scorpio enters the world with depth, intensity, and magnetic presence, approaches life through truth, perception, vulnerability, and power. Rising in Ophiuchus enters the world with serpent fire awareness and alchemical presence, approaches life through transformation, healing, and multidimensional insight. Rising in Sagittarius enters the world with openness, freedom, and visionary thinking, approaches life through exploration, truth-seeking, and expansion. Rising in Capricorn enters the world with focus, strength, and purposeful structure, approaches life through responsibility, integrity, and long-range vision. Rising in Aquarius enters the world with originality, innovation, and humanitarian perspective, approaches life through unity consciousness, reform, and unconventional insight. Rising in Pisces enters the world with compassion, softness, imagination, and mystic sensitivity, approaches life through intuition, surrender, and spiritual awareness. So this is the energetic doorway the soul uses to enter each moment. It is the most immediate expression shaping how the world experiences you. So that's how you look at it when you're reading it, is what is, like I said, I'm an Aries rising. So when I get up in the morning, like I get up ready to go. I get up like I was drinking caffeine, or I was drinking caffeine in my sleep, and I wake up fully loaded, ready to go. I'm out the gate, out the door. Like I don't need an hour. And I'm one of those, like, remember Kramer, right? That's me skidding in. Shoo, hello there. Like, let's go. Right? Like I do things, I'm fast in a lot of ways, right? But that's that Aries rising energy, right? I'm initiatory. So when you're looking at that, think about how you enter each moment, or how people experience you initially. It's not the depth, right? This is just how you interact with certain things. Like if I was given a project or given something that I'm passionate about, or there's something new, I'm on that. Well, let's go. Right? Maybe tying up the end, completing the little stuff. I'm done by that. I'm like, right? It's like I'm hello, and then when it's at the end, I'm like, goodbye. Just getting out of here. Right? It's just, that's the way it works. So that might help you if you start looking at it like, okay, so what is the most immediate expression if you don't know your birth time and you're trying to determine what your rising is. It changes every 1 to 2 hours, or 1 to 2.5, depending on the size of each of the constellations, right? Because they're not the same size. So it's also part of it's the gate of daily weather and the core of the daily triad. The rising plus the moon creates the body's interface with the world. The rising plus the sun creates reveals the identity that's being projected forward, which is really, really cool. So there you go. You're getting a little brief capture of the course that I'm teaching, which is Krystic Astrology, in March. So you have lots of time to prepare for it. December, I have a couple of mini classes that I'm doing, and the mini classes are $22 per class. Give me 1 second. I just want to look up. Just want to look up what they're called. So I'm telling you what they really are. Just give me a second. Not that one. That one. I think it's this one. I think this is my notes. I have to do planning, right? You have to be planning. I have several different channels that I run at the same time. I have 2 companies that I'm running at the same time. So yeah. No, that's not it. Give me a second. I'm going to use this one right here to find it. Sorry. I don't know why I can't find my notes on it. I don't want to have to do it all over. I mean, it's whatever. I think I found my notes. Hi, Cheyenne. How are you? It's been a long time. How are you doing? Okay, so the Guardian class that we're doing in December is called How Guardians Track Distortion Lines in Real Time. Okay, so this is teaching guardians how to navigate reality through the energetic truth rather than the surface perception. So that's what the education is for the Guardian Pathway this month. When we look at, no, that's January. December for the Krystic Mastery Circle, which again, this class, you can get these classes by being a member of either one of these groups. For the Guardian Pathway, you're only in the Guardian Pathway and the Ascension Gateway, so you don't get access to the Krystic Mastery Circle stuff. But the person that's in the Krystic Mastery Circle would have access to both of these education events this month. And theirs is also a double, like it's 22 Canadian for the Guardian Pathway. It's 44 for Krystic Mastery. So each one of the classes, when I offer them to the public, I offer them at 22, except for January's, and you'll understand why, because January is much more than just one class. So in December, the Krystic Mastery Circle, we are going to be doing a couple of things, but the lesson that we're going to be doing, or the deep teach that we're going to be, is about living the divine laws. So the divine law of embodied authority, how mastery speaks through you, because this complements the Oversoul anchoring teachings and the 13th gate ceremony that will also be a part of the Krystic Mastery Circle. In January, we are going to be doing the mini lesson for the Guardian Pathway as the energetic boundary architecture for the new year, which will be awesome. And we also have a special class that we're doing for the Krystic Mastery Circle. And the reason why is because in January, I am doing the Krystic Wealth Activation 3-day series for the Krystic Mastery Circle, which I'm offering to the public, but it will be for 44 for that class. So you can either become a member of the Krystic Mastery Circle to get access to the class and everything will be stored in the group, or you can just join that particular class, but it will be at the $44 rate as opposed to what I typically charge, which is $22. But it's also a 3-day event. So it's not just as simple as a 1-day class. So I think that everybody can understand why. So again, January, we'll have the Krystic Wealth 3-day series activation, the Krystic Wealth Activation 3-day series. In December, we'll have the Divine Law teaching in the Guardian Pathway. We have the distortion tracking mini lesson, and then we have the boundary architecture mini lessons. So those are the 2 lessons, and there's other stuff that goes in the groups, but those are the big things that are coming up for those 2 groups. January 9th, Bridge to Light Phase 2 begins. March 20th, the Krystic Astrology course begins. The 21st, I have 2 more books that are going to be published, which will bring me to 18 and 19 for published works now. Is book 5 in the Unlikely Heroine Chronicles, Tiana and the Phoenix Who Refuses to Burn, and also book 6 in the Luminous Soul series, which is Infinite Wonder. So I look forward to putting those out there. And again, there's always all kinds of things that you can check in on. I am doing Krystic astrology readings. I do have soul stream readings that I'm doing, which these are huge. I can't even begin to explain everything that's in them right now. Those things are available, but when you go to my website, just if you have any questions, go to the free call. There's a free call, or send me a message and say, I'm trying to, like whatever it is that you're looking for. But while you're at it, go join the free group. There's so much value in that free group. And you can ask Carol, who I think is still trying to catch up with all the stuff that I have published in all the different membership groups. So definitely go and check them out because it's free, right? Like, and then that way there, if anything happens to social media, you still have access to me or my content because I'll still be sharing it on my website. Okay, so that's everything I think for today. It's very bright right now, and because that sun is bright and we are on -36 with the wind chill, I'm going to go bundle myself and my dog up. He has a snowsuit, which is really, really cute. He got booties and everything, so that I can take him for a walk before the sun gets any lower, because it's just going to get colder. But I'll be back tomorrow. And if you need anything between now and tomorrow, just go check out my website or send me a message or a DM or whatever, and we can talk then. How's that? Love you guys. And also remember, hugs for homeless. Donations are needed. It doesn't matter. There is no too little amount to donate. And you have to look at 3 degrees. Oh my goodness. That would be so nice. I was talking to my American friend and I had to convert that. My -36 was -33 Fahrenheit. Like, East Coast. It's cold. No matter whether you're in Fahrenheit or Celsius, it is cold out there. So let's get some warmth out there for them. And if you can't donate or anything like that, you can always volunteer. And if you're not interested in hugs for homeless because it's not in your area, then please go out and support things in your area, right? We can help by each of us coming together, by all of us, right? It's going to come to that time where it's like bartering with your neighbors, which is another thing that I need to remind you guys of. My site operates on sacred reciprocity. So there are prices that are there, but that's not necessarily what you would end up paying, because I understand that not everybody is in a financially lucrative position. And I don't want that to stop somebody from getting services or healing or, growth or education and things like that. So if you are interested in something that I'm providing and you're not able to pay the price that's listed, then get into a conversation with me and we can see what I can offer it for, and maybe we can trade something. Maybe you're really good at social media, or I don't know, you can just be very, very good at doing sharing, and I don't know. There's different ways that we can work together though. So definitely look at that. Consider that if you're looking at the stuff that I have there. Yeah, 3 degrees Fahrenheit. that's pretty cold. It's pretty chilly out there. But yeah. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me and being attentive and interactive or engaging. There we go. Being engaging. That was awesome. But like I said, I'm going to hop off and capture this sun so I can get him out for a bit of a walk. Love you guys. Mwah. I'll see you guys later. Have a great evening. We'll see each other tomorrow around 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 1:30 Mountain Time. Love you. Have a great evening. Bye, guys. Have a great night.